Hawkins was certainly an inspirational figure in my life. For one, he was a disabled person, but he never let his disability define his existence. He was an excellent scientist. He was always curious, in pursuit of knowledge, and that defined him, and not his disability. Disability was merely a facet, one identity that he took, but it didn't define him. And secondly, he lived a very full life. He had a family. He was in love at one point of time. So basically, it is also a lesson for the world in how to treat disabled people. That disabled people can have aspirations, they want to live full lives, they want to have families, they want to be in love, and to respect their choices, and not merely to define them by their bodies or their disability. And that is one of the biggest takeaways that we can get from Stephen Hawking's life.
Stephen Hawking was a game changer, not only for the world of science, but for persons with disabilities too. Stephen Hawking achieved so much in his life that people often forgot his disability. Let me share a couple of interesting anecdotes from his trip to India in 2001. When he visited India, he wanted to visit all the famous monuments that world leaders almost visit. And the government became extremely scared because none of these monuments and historical sites were accessible to persons with disabilities. He eventually ended up visiting Qutub Minar and Jantar Mantar, where small quick solutions were worked out to make them at least partly accessible so that Stephen Hawking could visit them. But I think that in many ways talks about how inaccessible India really was to Stephen Hawking. Despite that, he came, he delivered a public lecture, attended meetings, even went on to visit Qutub Minar and Jantar Mantar, despite them being half-baked in their accessibility, and that too specifically for him. And that's the Stephen Hawking that I will always remember. A man who wrote a brief history of time, and in his time changed life for persons with disabilities all around the world.
He was an inspiration, someone who many of us in the world looked up to. But for us, people with disabilities, as a woman with a disability and as a disability rights activist, I think for me, Stephen Hawking epitomized courage. He proved that you don't need to really have speech to have a voice. He gives us hope that all of us can live full lives, irrespective of what our ability or disability is, because we people with disabilities in India really struggle with this concept of living full lives. And I think this is what the life and the journey of Professor Stephen Hawking really means for me. A full human being